Good morning, everybody. Welcome once again to Love Wins Live Forum. My name is Rona Capili Bonifacio, and I'm the editor-in-chief of inspirations.ph. Good morning, Miss Sharon.
Yes, good morning, Rona, and good morning, everyone. My name is Sharon Fabian, the Managing Director of Themes and Motives, the Wedding Inspirations Company. And we'd like to welcome all of you to another episode 22 of
Yes,
Love Wins Live Forum. And it's a beautiful, sunny Saturday morning. So we have a beautiful lineup today. First, we'll have someone from Bulacan, no? There's an ongoing online bridal fair, EROG Year 2. We'll have them on board. And plus, the couple that we have been promoting week long, a couple that had a grand, intimate wedding celebration. But before that, Rana, I would just like to acknowledge yung sa pre-broadcast natin video. That was a video, yung photos and videos that we used were from the wedding of our couple that we're interviewing today. So photos were taken by JCT Photography and the video is Phoeben Kyokson Videography. Plus of course, yung napakagandang setup po nila in their wedding is by Randy Lazaro. So, we'd like to call on our before we interview our couple, somebody from Bulacan is joining us this morning. Hello,
yes.
is Sandra Cruz.
Hi, Eloise.
Hi
Lois,
everyone,
hi.
good
Yes,
morning.
good morning. Lois is the public relations head of Group of Bulacan Event Professionals,
Yes,
GBEP.
thank you
GBEP
for
if I'm not
having
mistaken.
us today. Yes, the GB group. So that's the Group of Bulacan Event Professionals. So we are established actually last 2019. Of course, our head, Mr. John Leong, is watching us live as well right now.
Hello. Hello to
Good
everyone.
morning,
Hello, Miss
John.
John.
Tell us
Pero
about,
wait, oo.
tell
Tell us
us about
about the
Europe.
yung
So
Irog Year
Irog
2.
2, Irog Year 2, yes, right now is ongoing. You can catch us live. Of course, you can visit the Group of Bulacan Events Professionals group online. So for you to easily access the themes and of course the bridal fair in cooperation of course with the themes and motifs. So luckily right now naman medyo marami naman actually ang nagbo-book sa ating mga suppliers who join. Kaya masayang-masaya rin kami kasi we feel the love of our dear Bulakeños na hinihintay lang din pala talaga nila kami na
Oh,
mag-post ulit, of course, na ipakita sa kanila ang ating still, of course, the offers for the following year. And yun, we're just very grateful to have this online bridal fair. Kasi last year, actually, we had the EROG Year 1 at this time of the year as well, of course.
okay.
So, sobrang excited namin kasi this time of the year pa rin, natuloy pa rin ang EROG Year 2. So, yun.
So the suppliers that we will find at EROG are they all Bulacan based or Bulacan and around Bulacan?
All Bulacan based.
Okay, all Bulacan based, but they can service weddings
In
nearby.
Manila, yes,
Yes.
in Manila, and of course to the northern provinces, Pampanga. Actually, some weddings, meron din sa La Union,
Yes.
Pangasinan.
Oo.
The good thing kasi with Bulacan, we are very near Metro Manila. So
Mhm.
actually, me, I'm from Maykawayan, Bulacan. I can go to Quezon City as
Right.
as quick as 30 minutes, 20 minutes pag
Yes,
walang
that's
traffic.
true.
Tama.
Oo.
Kaya mas masarap pa nga sa aming mga taga Bulakeños kasi
Yes, mas
we have
malapit
the
ka sa Quezon City kesa sa yung mga taga Makati.
Yes, actually.
Yes,
Mas
that's so true.
actually malapit lang din Makati talaga. But of course, we have the traffic, the EDSA traffic and all. Yun lang ang advantage yata namin talagang mga Bulakeños because we have the North Luzon Expressway or the NLEX. So isang tawag lang sa amin, 20 minutes will be there.
Right. So for couples who are looking for suppliers, whether it's, they're having their wedding somewhere in Quezon City or even here in Manila, or maybe they're bringing it to their hometowns in the nearby provinces of Bulacan, it would be great for you to check out Irog Year
Yeah.
2.
Year two. And they're now
Europe too.
online. Oo. They're now online and part of the Bridal Marketplace Roadshow. So you can go and check them out in www.themesandmotives.com. So
Yes.
any last words, Hello, sa ating mga viewers? It's so good to see yung pagbabounce back ng Bulacan event suppliers natin, no? So last words
Yes.
mo sa
Well, last words to our dear couples who are planning their wedding, or of course to those who postpone their wedding. Because actually, me, I'm an event planner, and my sister actually got affected with the pandemic. She was supposed to get married last July, but of course we had to cancel because we have families coming over talaga. The groom side of the wedding will be coming from the US. So ngayon, medyo lumuluwag na. Some of the family members can finally join us. So we are back into planning the wedding, which we are planning to have this coming March. Actually, for our dear couples, for the past months, I've had weddings na. At sobrang na-appreciate ko yung difference of having a grand wedding with intimate guests kesa doon sa before na 200 packs or 500 packs. Because right now, when you interview the couples, sasabihin nila sobrang chill. Ang sarap pala ng intimate weddings dahil nakakausap ko bawat isang bisita ko. I had the pleasure of giving my souvenirs. Kumbaga sila nagagawa nila yon. While before, 'di ba? Kumbaga some of your guests hindi mo na nakikita or nakikita mo na lang sa pictures, ay nandun pala sa kasal natin si ganyan or ganito. So the advantage of having your intimate weddings is talagang sobrang dami. Less stress, plus more time to bond with your family, mas intimate, mas relaxing ang iyong mga bisita, ang iyong pamilya. So yon, for our dear couples planning their wedding soon, please feel free to check our page because we are really very excited. Sa totoo lang, sobrang na-appreciate din namin the love of our dear suppliers, and sobrang dami naming ino-offer right now. Dahil nga pandemic, ang dami nating mga naiisip na bagong trends na pwede nating ipauso, whereas 'di ba before, iba rin naman kasi talaga ang demands ng sobrang daming bisita. Unlike now na mas konti ang bisita. So ngayon, mas marami tayong naiisip kasi nga mas intimate. Mas magiging fun ang wedding. So yun, feel free to check our page because we are very excited to talk to you guys. So yun, thank you so much, Miss Rona and Miss Sharon, for having us.
Yes, thank you, Alois, for joining us this morning. And we wish you well. God bless you. And more bookings for all Bulacan
Yes.
suppliers, part of Irog Year 2 Online Bridal Fair.
Hi,
Thank you so
Heloise!
much. Bye.
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 You know, while I was watching the 5-minute video that we had before we came on cam, no, I was so amazed to see the kind of wedding that our couple who we are guesting today was able to pull off. Because they had details, I feel that a lot of couples feel na, you know, right away they write it off the list na, ay, we can't do that anymore, or we don't have to do that anymore. For example, their live music. Okay, I
That's
think that
right.
that's
Right.
something that couples will automatically say na, I don't think that's possible at this time. But of course, we're going to find out why, number one, how they were able to do this. And number two, why I don't think that wedding would have been you could have done that wedding without live music. Parang there was just no way
Yes.
that
Oh,
was
hindi
happen.
pwede.
Yeah,
Oh,
diba?
cannot.
Because
Oo.
of
And
course, our newlyweds, Dappy and Kyna Reyes, who we are so privileged to have this morning, just got married October 10, 2020. So they're one of the couples who did the 10-10-2020. Alam
yes,
ko, there were so many
oo.
weddings that weekend. But I really have to say that looking at your photos, very different. So welcome to Love Wins Live Forum, Mr. and Mrs. Reyes. Hi, Dappy.
Hello, Dappy. Good
Morning.
morning. Oo,
Morning.
ayan. And there's Kina.
How
Good
are you?
morning.
Hi,
Morning.
Tina.
Yan.
Nako, we were just saying na I'm sure very impossible for Kina's wedding in particular to push through ng walang live music, di
Yeah.
ba? Is it because this is because, okay, in case you haven't noticed and in case you haven't read, but Kina, of
Oo.
course, the daughter of Tito Bernie Pasamba,
Yes,
who
oo.
needs no introduction when it comes to the wedding from the music industry. And I think it would just be unimaginable, really.
Na walang music. Oo.
Right? Without my entire chorale singing for her.
And
Actually,
hindi lang choir, no?
Yeah.
There's live music, may hosting in the reception, but we'll get into that. Yan. Hindi po pwede being sabi nga namin na wedding industry royalty yan si Kina. So so kailangan, 'di ba? Kailangan synonymous ang Bernie Pasamba. Pag sinabi mong Bernie Pasamba, entertainment agad
Correct. Oo.
papasok sa isip mo. So, yan, we will hear more from them sa details ng kanilang grand. Ginamit na kanina nung guest natin, no, si Heloise, sabi niya grand intimate.
Yes, I think
Um,
Safira Chua said wedding of the year pa. O, di ba?
oh. Ini Safira of New World, tama ba?
yes.
Yan.
Yes, yan.
So,
Hello,
Safira,
Safira!
we're not joking. Of course. Hi, Tito Bernie. Who's
Hello.
But can you tell us, we've seen a bit, of what your wedding looked like during with the video, but can you tell us a little bit more of the details of your wedding? Like, where was your reception and how many guests did you have?
Actually, being the daughter of Bernie Pasamba, planning a wedding, I'm not saying that it's easy. It's just that it's something that for many years, my dad has been in the industry for almost 30 years. So it's something not new to us anymore. So as soon as Dappy proposed, actually, we already knew at that time that who we wanted to get, what suppliers that we wanted to engage, from the invitations to the host to the, of course, music to the gown, etc. So, in short, it's not supposed to be challenging. But because of the pandemic, that's when it became really challenging for both of us, for Dappy and I. And one of the first really obstacle of that we face is, diba, were we gonna push through with it? Like, should we move it? Should we postpone it? Because it's not just about, government directive of social distancing or etc. So many government protocols, health and safety protocols. But of course, the priority was really the health and safety of our guests. So having this grand wedding of having like 200, 300 capacity wedding was out of the list already. Because how can you practice social distancing if you have that much guests? Okay, so that was the first issue or the problem. Were we going to push through with it? Actually, when Dappy proposed December, and actually by February, we were done with the suppliers. We already talked to everyone. We already made our down payments, and actually,
we finished our prenup before the lockdown. So we had the lockdown March 15, but we were able to do our prenup March 14. So we were really thankful.
Yeah, so
Buzzer beater.
Because we would really have a problem if we will do it during the quarantine period. So we're thankful to God that
yes,
we were able to fix everything before the lockdown.
Actually, Rona,
as food tasting na. So, ganun siya katapos na by February.
yeah, because you're Mr. Bernie Pasamba was already telling us about the wedding
Yes.
in January. Na
Yes.
sabi nila, "Oh, i-reserve niyo na ang October 10, ha." So, yeah, I just like to point that out that your wedding 2 weeks ago was the original date that you
Yes.
planned, 'di ba?
Wow.
Yan talaga. So, that early, January pa lang, sila Mr. and Mrs. Pasamba were already telling their close friends, no, their friends na i-reserve niyo na 'tong date na 'to kasi
Mhm.
ikakasal na ang aming only daughter, 'di ba? Yan. So, gano'n talaga kaaga yung planning nila.
So, yeah, a lot of people already knew that we were going to get married on October 10. So, by February, actually, tapos na siya. And then come the lockdown and the pandemic. So, that was the main concern. Are we going to push through with it? So, how did it roll?
Yeah.
How did it go about? Why did we decide to push through with it on October 10th? Well, first, both of our parents, we coordinated with them, we talked to them. And consensus yung parents ko, tsaka yung dad ni Dappy na if ever we do push through with the October 10, 2020, dapat church wedding na siya. Because we come from a conservative family. I mean, depende naman yun sa couple. I mean,
Right.
some folks, different strokes. So, with our folks, a church wedding was,
Priority.
was a priority.
Non-negotiable. Okay.
So obviously, when you have a church wedding, hindi naman pwedeng after the church ceremony, kahit 5 lang kayo or 10 lang kayo, uuwi na kayo kagad. Of course, you're going to have lunch out. Okay? So, noong February, going on to April until June, actually, stagnant kami. We weren't planning anything. Because it was hard to plan a wedding if the government directives kept on changing, which is natural naman because we're all in this situation. We're all playing it by ear. We're basing it on numbers na we have to adjust every 2 weeks. So imagine planning a wedding na nag-iiba yung rules niya every 2 weeks.
Oo. We hear that that's the most stressful.
Right? So,
Mag-iiba din yung head count every
nag-iiba
week.
yung head
So we
count.
have to change from our family, friends,
Actually,
But,
yung reception talaga was off the table na because bawal ang social gatherings. And the
Right.
government doesn't allow ballrooms. So yung pinaka-idea lang talaga namin was a church wedding. But of course, we wanted pa rin to have a simple reception dinner with our family and friends, complying with the directives of the government. So come around June or July, especially no August, ayan na, the government already allowed a 50%, 30%, and then 50% capacity of restaurants. Okay, and then one day, that already came about. And then one day, we were walking in Greenbelt. And then we saw one restaurant, parang naka-formal attire yung mga guests.
Yes.
Yeah, sabi ko, what's happening? So, nakikiasource kami, like, okay, what's happening? Yung pala, it was a wedding. Tapos sabi ko, okay, why in a restaurant? Bakit restaurant? Because yun siya na, oo, sa ballroom bawal. Because hindi
Enclosed.
yun eh. It's not allowed. Even the hotel won't allow it. So sabi, kasi because restaurants can accommodate 50%. And we've seen it. Para lang nagdi-dinner yung family na naka-social distancing sa restaurant. Tapos sinuserva ng food, naka-mask lahat. Yung mga waiters, naka-face shield. Pero ang difference, naka-formal sila. Kasi naka-gown. So that they gave us an idea na, okay, we can have
Pwede.
a simple reception dinner with our family members in the restaurant that we had, in a restaurant that would allow us or that can accommodate our family. Okay, doon siya nag-start. And from being stagnant in planning for 5 months, bigla kami bumilis bigla nung August. Doon yung tuloy-tuloy na yung pagplan. And that's how it all started. And, my dad actually, madalas kaming kausapan ni Dappy because, of course, as a couple, we always think na itutuloy ba natin? Is this safe for our guests? Because
Right.
at the end of the day, you want to consider really, or prioritize really, first, the
Safety.
safety of your guests.
Yeah.
And second, you want to comply with government protocol. That's
Yes.
actually those are the two things that you have to
Yeah.
consider. Okay?
Yes.
And sabi ng dad ko, you know, you can't control the vaccine, you can't control the pandemic,
Right.
but you can control your date. So what are you going to do about it? So doon kami nag-usap ni Dappy na,
Focus.
sige, ituloy na natin na itong October 10, 2023 na wedding. But it was challenging coming from me especially to say that it's challenging is quite, not normal because again, I'm
Yes,
the
I
doctor.
think it's really challenging.
Yes. Oo.
It's
And
challenging because actually parang I'm planning for the first time a wedding. It's
Mhm.
in
just
a pandemic.
in a pandemic, so may mga bago talaga na kailangan gawin to implement
Right.
to ensure everyone's safety who will at least physically attend the wedding.
Right.
Yeah, let me just interrupt you, Kina. No, I'd like to mention also si Kina is a lawyer by profession. And tama ba yung term ko? She is an officer of the law because she is actually with the Supreme Court. So if there's anybody who's mabusisi with protocols, guidelines, siya yon. So I think that also made it two ways, no? Parang it made it easier for you kasi by nature, talagang ma-research ka by your profession.
May
But at the
research
same but at the same time, difficult kasi aware ka. I mean, some would probably get away with the excuse na, hindi ko kasi
Hindi ko
alam
alam.
eh. But ikaw, being an officer of the law, ikaw rin yung mag-i-implement. I mean, at the very least, no,
Your own
you
wedding.
will police your own wedding, 'di ba? So kaya nakatuto ka sa pabagong-bagong protocols, which is, as you said nga, cannot be helped naman because we are in a pandemic and situations change every so often, 'di ba? So yun lang
and
yung
we have to comply with them.
Yeah.
Hindi pwedeng parang circumventing. You really have
Yes.
to research and comply. I think
Yeah.
that's one thing. Kasi there's a reason why the government is imposing these restrictions really because safety ng mga tao. Oo.
Yeah.
So, yung ginawa namin ni Dappy, actually we're just very thankful also that our coordinator and also Winnie of Hilton Hotel, they're very also well researched on the government protocol. So, kumbaga, although of course, I really did my part. I called people, ano ba yung protocol ngayon? Is this allowed? What if ganito ginawa namin, pero ganito gagawin namin? Tama ba to? Allowed ba to? Am I breaking any rules? Etc. So in short, all the suppliers, even the couple, kailangan wag silang tamarin to research.
Right.
It's about researching really what is the government protocol at the time of your wedding. And dahil pabago-bago siya, you are still going to research even days before the wedding. So yun yung challenge doon. Oo.
Was,
ito na yung
How many people did you have at your wedding?
Actually,
original guest list niyo
original
would
is 300. So due to
300.
the pandemic, we cut down it to 50, to 45 to 50. Yeah.
But the venue of your church and your reception could hold a maximum of
The Magallanes Church can hold 800
Right.
people, right? And we only allow 10% of the seating capacity of the church. So we have to comply with that.
right.
So
within dapat 80.
mga 50,
80, including suppliers yon, di ba?
including suppliers yon. So imagine you have this big church, pero ilan lang yung guests? So mga 50. Hindi pa nga kami umabot ng 80 eh. It was less than 80. So the church was very happy with
Yeah.
that. And then with the reception, the restaurant, we had a short, intimate dinner at Hawaiian of Hilton Hotel. It can accommodate originally 100 plus people, nearing siguro 150. Pero we only occupied 1/3 of the restaurant.
Right.
So talagang social distancing siya.
And short meaning how long lang was your reception, like a couple of hours. Because
Yeah, that was another new thing about a pandemic wedding. Hindi na pwede yung wedding dati na 4 p.m. nandun ka na sa venue,
then you'll have a
tas
cocktail,
magka-cocktails
then you wait for
ka.
an hour
and
for
then-
a cocktail or two, and then you start the wedding 7 p.m. So
Actually, some even start at like 8 p.m.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they end at 12. Okay? Imagine a wedding, pag guest ka, you will literally dedicate your whole
The
day
entire day.
kahit guest ka lang. So,
Yes.
like, kahit hindi ka ninong-ninang. Imagine if a wedding like ours started at 2 p.m., sure yan, that will end 12 midnight. What
Yes.
is now the new thing about a pandemic wedding? You really have to cut it short.
because there's also a curfew that the
Oo.
government implements talaga every event. So I think it has to end mga 10 p.m. or 9 p.m.
No, even before, because you have
Before,
to
kasi uuwi pa sila.
go. So in our wedding, it ended around 8 p.m. kasi ang curfew 10 p.m. And then, unlike before, yung program napakahaba, nagsispeech si guest A, may mga 4 na games, meron kayong yung parang dance performance, etc. Because you don't want to overly expose your guests in the outside, diba? You want to shorten the program. Okay? So when you shorten the program, may less engagement, less talking. So literally, you just eat, have
Right.
dinner, celebrate for a while. Okay? And of course, simple yun. Diba? Napaka-simple nung wedding.
And hindi pa nainip yung mga tao.
Oo.
Yeah.
Oo. Napaka-simple wedding and hindi sila naiinip kasi short lang siya.
Right.
But the challenge now was, how do we make it memorable? Because it can be simple. It has to be simple. Because, couples right now, they need to accept the fact na hindi pa pwede talagang mga 2,000 guest wedding, granding wedding because we're in a pandemic. That's not technically the safest option. If not safe, hindi talaga siya safe. So, ang ano doon, how do you make a simple wedding, an intimate wedding, memorable? So, we were thinking, Dappy, paano yun? Walang games. Ayoko ng games. Close contact yun. Okay? Ayoko nun. What if ayoko din masyadong maraming programs kasi nga hahaba yung oras. Gusto natin maaga makauwi yung guests natin. And sabi namin, my dad's Bernie Pasamba. Hawak namin yung music. What can we use now to make this intimate wedding grand in its own way? So, ano ba yung scientific study, diba? An infected person can transmit a virus while talking. Close contact, tas nag-uusap kayo because of that part, yung droplets, right?
Droplets.
So, how do we minimize that without boring our guests to death? Kasi of course, we will always announce during the reception, refrain from talking to each other. If you're not eating, put your mask on and your face shield. Okay? Refrain from conversing if kailangan lang. Kasi, di ba, kung kailangan lang, that's when you time the talk. But how do we entertain our guests? Doon pumasok yung music. And actually, it worked. When my dad, yung musicians ng dad ko, entered the venue, lahat sila naka-face mask, naka-face shield. Imagine even the singers naka-face mask sila. Because kaya naman, that's the beauty of it. Yung venue, hindi yung grande, hindi siya yung malaki. It's just a restaurant with just 1/3 of the capacity. So kahit naka-mask sila, kahit naka-face shield sila, kahit naka-social distancing sila, yung effect ng music nandun pa rin, yung drama ng music. And it was like a breath of fresh air, not just to me and Dappy, but to our guests. Because they are finally, parang, without having to converse so much, they're entertained. Kumbaga,
Parang it fills the gaps. It fills the space, right?
Yes.
space na kahit nagdi-dinner lang, walang program, walang game. Ang speech nasa 4 lang, nasa family lang, na-entertain yung guests. That's the
Buhay
beauty
siya.
of music. And hindi lang entertain, more like nakuha din yung gusto namin na hindi masyadong nag-uusap yung mga guests. Nanunood lang sila. Tapos pag hindi sila na kumakain, naka-face mask sila kagad, naka-face shield. And then, they're just going to watch. And
Right.
then, right? So that's the beauty of the reception. Ayan, just to go back siguro to the church, what did we do naman to our guests that didn't physically attend?
So we had a live stream. So it's not Zoom. So we have this live stream that we had several cameras in the church wherein nakukuha lahat yung angle. So maganda din lumabas. So we were thankful that we had this live stream that was endorsed to us, and it came out really nice.
Yeah, and actually this is new because pag hindi pandemic wedding, walang nakakaisip ng live stream.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Okay. Imagine, you only have 40 guests and mga family mo lang yun. Eh, what if naman yung mga close friends mo din? And also, senior citizens who can't attend the wedding because, again, they're not allowed to go out. Eh.
Yes.
So, kawawa naman sila. Although they want to be there, they can't because it's not allowed. And it's also for their safety. So, how do we accommodate the request? So, sabi namin, what if i-live stream natin yung church? And actually, mas marami pang naka-attend. So imagine the video, yung live video namin, 700 people were watching.
Wow.
Yeah. So actually, ang guest namin, 300 originally. But now, may
More
700 na taong nanonood dun sa church ceremony. And because of that, compliant ka. You get to involve all the people that you love in your wedding.
Yeah.
With, even with that government protocol of 10% in religious gatherings. Ginawa namin, nag-live feed kami. And now that 700 people are watching, better na maganda din yung music. So doon na naman papasok yung music. Doon na naman yung papasok yung flowers also. Kumbaga, it's an intimate wedding, but it was still grand in its own way because at the end of the day, there were around 500 to 700 people still watching the church, only virtually. So, dapat maganda pa rin siya.
The question, for me, my question is, how did you decide who you are inviting physically to the wedding, to the and who is invited to the live stream? I think some couples kasi medyo nasa-stuck din sila doon, no? Yung parang...
Yung how do you cut down your guest list na especially in our culture, 'di ba? Parang
culture natin 'yon. Oo.
Ang hirap eh, 'di ba?
Actually, with our 300 guests, our friends and relatives knew already that we were already gonna cut down the guests. So we have mga relatives na who are really not confident in going out. So we respect that as well.
Right.
And then we have friends na ganun din, but meron din kami friends and relatives na are willing to go. So what we did was we did it the other way around. Usually kasi when you have a wedding, you give the RSVP, and then you give the invitation bago sila magko-confirm.
With the RSVP, yeah.
So, nangyari dito, parang nagkabaliktad. Okay, na kasi why did
They told you na they're not comfortable.
Oo, kasi bakit namin binaliktad? Before the pandemic, pre-pandemic, when you're in a hotel, di ba, pag yung reception mo nasa hotel, you reserve for a number of people, let's say 250 to 250 guests. Okay, so the thing is, pag sumobra doon, the ballroom, for example, can still accommodate. Okay, you just need to pay for the extra people who attended. What's different about a pandemic wedding is hindi ka pwedeng sumobra.
So you have to have the exact number of guests.
So for example, if the restaurant can only accommodate 1/3 of the restaurant, 1/3 of the seating capacity, hanggang dun ka lang. You can't exceed that number. So that was the first challenge. That was the first challenge. The second challenge is, ang dami naming information na nakukuha from our guests. May ibang gustong-gustong mag-attend ng wedding or ng church. May iba ayaw. May iba undecided. So, we needed to consolidate that information. So what did we do?
What we did, we had a website,
website.
so where they could fill in answers, yung mga questions nila.
Parang nag-survey kami. So we sent out a website to our guests, and there were yung indicated in the website yung Q&A. Basically, information na first, we will push through with the wedding. Second, what's going to happen? Ano yung mga safety protocols na susundin? And third, are you going or not? Diretsahan talaga. Do you want to attend or not? Walang pilitan. If you want to go, go. If you don't want, we respect it, because at the end of the day, your safety is our priority. Okay? So, yun yung nangyari doon. Parang we made the website, all the information were there, the venue, where to reserve. But at the end of the day, the website, yung purpose talaga niyan was to do a head count na kagad. Who will go? Because we needed to know that, okay, yung restaurant can only accommodate, let's say, 50 people. If sumobra tayo ng 50, let's say 80, no choice tayo. We have to move the reception at a later date when the government will allow a bigger capacity in restaurants. Okay? But if, let's say, less than pa yung nag-confirm na, okay, mga 40 lang yung nag-confirm, pero ang capacity ng restaurant 80, then we can hold a private dinner for these 40 people. So, baliktad siya. Before, magsasend, as Dappy said, kailangan mag-send ka na muna ng invitation, and then dun palang mag-RSVP yung mga send mo na invitation. Ito baliktad. Nag-survey kami. Nag-RSVP muna kami. And then, when we found out, that's when we sent out the invitation. Pero actually, it's still the same. Kasi kahit yung mga guests namin who were not physically or who decided not to physically attend, we still sent out invitations. Right. Just so because nga, moving on to the next concept, may live stream.
Yeah. You have a separate
pa rin talaga sila.
Just you have a separate supplier for the live stream.
I'm sorry?
Did you hire a separate supplier for your live stream?
Yes, we hired a separate supplier, Picture Cinema. So, iba yung videographer mo for your same day. Ayun, for your same day edit, iba yung videographer for the live stream. Kasi yung specialty ng live stream, iba doon sa videographer mo. Bakit? Because your live stream people need their own connection. They need their own Wi-Fi. Meron silang sariling program na, kasi kunwari kami, naka-tri-cam kami. Yes. So, may part, kumbaga, may technical script doon na sinusunod yung live stream. So, kunwari, kung umiiyak yung groom, nakafocus siya kay Dappy. Pero pag nagbukas na ng door, ibang cameraman nakafocus doon sa door ng church. So, nagta-transfer siya from one camera to another. And may central camera na nag-ooperate. Yeah. So, for our technical script, and iba yung challenges nila compared sa challenges ng videographer mo.
Yeah. So, for our couples who are tuned in, your videographer and your photographer, their job is to document. Their job is documentation of your wedding, and after the wedding, their deliverables are your photos, your SDE, your highlight reel. A live stream supplier, and the value of getting a separate and dedicated live stream supplier is that their work is really on the day itself, and really showing your online guests what's going on at the wedding. Think of it as like when you're watching
broadcast.
When you're watching a broadcast. Or when you're watching a noontime show and they're like, Studio A and Studio B, and that's what your live stream supplier does. Because it can be confusing, diba? If you're not so aware, or you're not so used to parang all these videos and all these things. But there's so much worth in getting somebody who yun lang yung problema niya. Ila-live stream lang yung kasal mo.
Yes, so although
also for the videographer and mga live stream, because they're not allowed to go near us kasi in usual pwede sila lumapit, but it came out really nice na they were able to focus all the important part, even na hindi sila lumalapit sa priest saka sa groom.
Isa pang
Yeah.
rule yun. So, malalaman lang din yun ng couple come the planning na bawal lumapit yung mga photographers, videographers sa couple and the priest during the wedding. So, that's another consideration to be considered by the couple.
Oo. Actually, well, Ron, I was a guest in the wedding. And it was so refreshing because, as I mentioned last time, no, this is my first pandemic wedding. But it was so refreshing because after a long while, ang linis nung ceremony area
Mm-hmm.
uh, during the wedding because we have gotten so used to in the recent past na nagsisiksikan dun sa harap, 'di ba? Parang somehow nagka-clutter kasi ang lapit-lapit na ng photographer dun sa couple. And somehow, I mean, it's still solemn pero ang daming elements. But in their wedding, it was really clean. And even the guests, like I was with my husband and we weren't even seated together. We were one, parang he was in a nasa harapan siyang pew, ako nasa likod, and we were like a meter apart. Um, so it was very solemn na na-appreciate mo talaga yung buong wedding mass. Like before, ang dami, people are standing up, taking pictures. But yeah, that one I noticed in the wedding, meron silang invisible anong tawag mo doon? Stanchion cord. Parang invisible siya na hanggang doon lang umaabot yung mga suppliers.
And
During the
even
wedding.
in the reception, I've noticed na the people are so far apart. So it's quite difficult to actually converse with your seatmate or what kasi may social distancing. So imagine napaka-solemn nung event na you're eating, ang layo ng katabi mo. So parang kain ka na lang or observe your surroundings. Kaya nga, dun nga ulit pumasok yung music. Entertainment. Actually, mas na-savor ng guests yung entertainment na music entertainment that my dad provided. And we really capitalized on that. So imagine, meron pa kaming flash mob. Parang nag-concert type talaga siya during the reception. And I would think even sila Dappy, this was actually the safest option for us. Kasi imagine, our guests were just watching, enjoying the flash mob, the concert type. So, and at the same time, social distancing. So, as what Tita Sharon said na, very solemn siya, na at the end of the day, you really get to, yung nasisimmer mo yung event mismo. Nagsisimmer siya sa'yo. Na
Did
hindi
you?
pre-pandemic wedding, ang dami-dami nyo, nagkakagulo na kayo,
Yes,
dami
yes.
kausap. Ganon.
Did you get to talk to your guests? Because we were talking na sila, they weren't really mingling with each other. But syempre, how about you guys as the bride and groom? Did you nakasalamuhan nyo ba lahat ng 50 guests nyo? I mean,
Yes,
did you
actually,
enjoy?
yun yung maganda
Yun yung
dun
maganda
sa
because we have a
kasal.
limited number of table also, so we were able to go around
Hi,
talaga.
hello, ganon.
Na short mga
Mga few seconds conversations. We asked them, how are you? Are you enjoying? And kumbaga, short period of time na nga yung conversations, pero tas konti pa yung table. You really get to see the people who are there. You get to appreciate their presence, make them feel that you really appreciate yung kumbaga, yung presence nila, that they attended, the risks that they had to take to attend the wedding. And at the same time, you really do get to see them face to face. Hindi yan masabing kinausap mo, punta ka na at the next table. Ito talaga yung very heartfelt yung pagkausap mo dun sa guest mo. Kasi konti na lang sila.
Tapos hindi ka nagmamadali, di ba? Na, tapos na pala yung picture sa table na to, kailangan ko na lumipat.
Next
Bye.
table.
Ah,
Kasi
bye.
30 tables pang iikutan namin, ha? Sige, bye-bye.
Di ba? Tapos yung gano'n na lang, bye, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Tapos, takbo ka na naman. Next table. Ito yung, meron kayong connection per guest. And I think they appreciated that as well.
Yeah, we
I think
did. We did.
that's what ano no, that's what Heloise was saying earlier when when she came on to start the show no na ang what's nice about what's happening with weddings these days is the personal touch that our weddings are able to kind of revive. I would like I don't know I wouldn't say na you know I think that's the better way to put it. Now we put back the personal touch into the weddings because there's so much one-on-one time that you get with your guests. Kasi nga, konti na lang kayo, and then, parang mas relax lang kayo lahat, di ba? Kahit na naka-gown, naka-heels ka at lahat, you don't feel like, oh, it's such a big production, and I have to like, parang hold it in, and kind of, be at a proper ganyan-ganyan. But it's really, you're able to talk to the couple and really tell them how you feel and what you want to say, and likewise, for the couple.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Agree.
I love that while you were planning your wedding, just listening to you guys is that number one, I think the thing that I'm picking up from you is that you were able to zero in on the things you could control and the things you can't control.
Yes.
So the things I can't control, bahala na, hindi ko na siya po problemahin. Kasi sometimes as, couples planning their wedding, that's where the stress comes in, right? You feel like everything is falling apart and you don't know where to begin and you don't know like, how do I fix it, right? How do I save it? But what I'm seeing from Dappy and Kyna is that, okay, ito yung pwede nating ayusin. Ito yung pwede nating pagandahin. Ito yung pwede nating gawing memorable. So let's focus on that. The things na wala na tayong magagawa, di ba? Hindi na pwedeng malaking guest list. Okay na yun. Huwag na natin problemahin yun, di ba? That's I think that's something that couples need to remember while they are planning their wedding. Na, the things you can control and the things you can't control. And this is true in life, in marriage, and whatnot. The things you can't control, say goodbye.
I think yung pinaka-key din dito, aside from the couple being well-researched on the government directives, is really having very good suppliers, wedding suppliers. Kasi I think we're already in a pandemic. So dapat given yung wedding suppliers, alam din nila yung protocol. Alam din nila ano yung dapat. Okay, so for example, nearly with my makeup artist na si Lord Ramos, yung nag-make-upan niya ako, naka-PPE siya, naka-mask siya, naka-face shield siya, lahat naka-sanitize, may UV siyang ginaganon siya na sa makeup niya. So, that is being a responsible wedding supplier.
Right.
With my coordinator, si Tita Liza Alviedo, very well-researched. Pag may gusto kami, sasabihin niya, hindi pwede yan dahil magsisiksikan tayo. Hindi pwede. So, di ba, may initiative yung supplier niyo to get the job done, but getting it right at the same time. Yun yung maganda doon. And that's why we also decided at this point na, yun nga, to coordinate with our original venue, which was Hilton Hotel. So I think that was one of the aspects of this pandemic wedding is doing it in a hotel where we were more comfortable with.
Yeah, where you're sure that these are professionals who are going to make sure that every guest that walks in and out of their doors will not just feel safe, but be safe talaga.
Oo, kasi, ang hotel, may resources yan eh. Kumbaga, if you do it in a home, you don't have the UV light, you don't have the mist, you don't have the temperature, yung mga nag-check ng temperature, you don't have staff to keep on telling the guests na, ma'am, social distancing po. Diba? Walang ganun sa bahay. But you get that safety in a hotel. Wherein, imagine Hilton Hotel, prior to guests getting in, naka-UV light yan for 1 hour. Lahat ng utensils nila naka-sanitize. Lahat ng bathroom sanitize. Yung staff nila in-house. So, hindi sila lumalabas ng hotel.
For 6 months. Yeah.
For 6 months.
Naka ano sila parang in a bubble, no?
Yeah, so
naka-bubble sila.
Oo, ganun. So, they have the resources to ensure that the guests who will be eating in the restaurant are safe. And they comply with contact tracing because all our guests gave out their information. Na I was at this place at this time, at I was in a private dinner. Kumbaga, kung alam nila, kumbaga, the hotel kasi they have accountability. When a supplier and when a hotel has accountability, it will ensure talaga that they are complying with all the government protocols, and at the same time, they ensure the safety of their guests, the health and safety of their guests. Yun
And
yung
that's one thing out of your to-do list. I think contact tracing is so important.
Yes.
And if you have professionals doing it,
Yes.
on top even of your own team, parang kahit papano, di ba, you kind of feel like, okay, we're getting this done properly.
yes.
You have some friends saying hello to you. So, yan, ayan. Bernadette says, so wonderful wedding. Ayan. And
Yeah, I'd like to mention, yan, si Helen Season.
Yes.
Oh, isa sila sa mga nanood.
Our Ninang is in Australia, but she was there with us virtually, up front and center, pero nasa computer niya. So that's the beauty of the live stream. They're still so involved.
Yes.
In the wedding. And it's just not any live stream na parang naka-zoom. Talagang it's as if
Right.
they're part of it.
Doon
Kasi
sila.
oo, kung ba, naka-zoom yung mukha ko, naka-zoom yung mukha ni Dappy. So, pati yung expressions nung groom and bride, nakikita nila. Nakikita nila kesa
Yeah.
sa guests nung nasa.
Para silang nanonood ng movie. Na
right.
live siya. Oo. I just wanna go back to yung sabi niyo nga venue because we were one of the guests and we were able to experience it. I think, Rona, the beauty of doing it in a venue, in an equipped venue. So whether it's a hotel or it's an events venue that really prepared and upgraded their facility to cater to pandemic, yung events na in the pandemic season, no? Itong hotel na 'to, meron siya 'no, before you enter the hotel, parang tube, uh, wherein papasok yung guests, your temperature will be taken, tapos may aapakan ka na masa-sanitize yung footwear mo, and I think may konting mist to sanitize yung guest, yung damit ng guest or whatever. That takes out the work also, uh, na minsan kinakarga pa ng suppliers 'pag hindi equipped yung venue, 'di
Venue.
ba?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's very helpful for, I think, mostly for the coordinator. Kasi kung coordinator ka at nakita mo yung venue mo na, hala, kulang-kulang yung contact
Mahirap.
tracing facility, ang hirap because even that one the burden falls on the shoulders na naman of the supplier. So that is also the advantage, and that's good that sina Dappy and Kyna pointed that out na crucial din yung venue. And for those that are not yet confident in doing their reception or their private dinners in a hotel setting, because nga we keep hearing dapat outdoor, dapat garden, dapat ganyan. Now they open itong point of view naman na ito na what is the advantage and the beauty of having it in a DOT accredited hotel. Tama? Tama, no,
Yes.
Kyna? Because the hotels, before they can accommodate this receptions, no, kailangan DOT accredited sila, meaning they went through the vetting process of the government. And I'm not sure if you can answer that, Dappy and Kyna, but can you request that from the hotel and ask if they have a DOT accreditation?
Usually they inform the couple about it. So, but of course, the nitty-gritty details of coordinating with the government agency.
Yan na
Kumbaga,
yun.
we relied on that. We relied on them na lang on that matter. And ni Alhambra, the manager who handled our account, was very responsive in terms of my questions na, what if ganito? What if we do this? And she was very, kumbaga, she satisfied me with her answers. Satisfied us with her answers na, okay, so tama, okay naman tayo. We're compliant. We are doing everything that we can within the directives for the safety of our guests, etc. So yun nga yung sinasabi ni Tita Sharon, very important yung venue kasi nga a responsible venue will have the adequate resources to ensure that they are compliant and that they are prioritizing the health of their guests. Yun.
Yeah, I agree. And sorry, Miss Sharon, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, because, well, before, well, di ba, parang napansin ko, hala, 1 hour na pala, para lang tayo nagkukwentuhan. Ang bilis ng oras. So, we will be asking you guys later on, no, yung last tips nyo for those who are getting married. But I have a question because you mentioned this early on, di ba, the way you identified, sino yung yes, you who will be physically with you on that day, and those na will be part of the live stream, okay? But I think lately, no, nagiging part to, Miss Rona and I were discussing, it's becoming a thing already na, okay, I'll do an intimate wedding and I'll really choose the people closest to me lang, my family and my closest friends to attend. Um, but again, like you pointed out, there are people who are not yet confident to go out and
Yeah.
mingle. So nagkakaroon ng parang may pressure sometimes
Yeah.
on the guest without siguro the couple. But there, we've heard of those cases na parang napapressure ngayon yung mga
Yes.
invited guests in the
Yes.
intimate wedding kasi the couple expect them to be really there. And ano ang ma-advise niyo because kayo dinaanan niyo 'yan and I'm sure there were friends that were not able to make it. And I remember in your wedding, there was someone who gave a speech. Well, ilan lang naman 'yon. I think it was your brother, Kina, that said na he started the speech by thanking the people that came. And he said, "Thank you for risking your lives just to be with Dappy and my sister today." So that's what he said. Thank you for risking your life. So kayo, ano naman ang yun before yung last words nyo, maybe you since you experience it, what can you say naman to those who are planning to get married at ine-expect nila, oh, itong in-identify ko na physically there, dapat nandun kayo ha, kasi kayo na lang nga yung pinili ko, hindi pa kayo pupunta. Ano ang masasabi nyo?
Our advice in this time of pandemic, of course, ang ginawa kasi namin is before we invite anyone, even the closest and our mga acquaintances, friends, before we invite them, we made sure of this website that these are the guidelines. Yung hindi namin kayo pipilitin. It should be specified there.
In short, na sinasabi namin, it's okay.
It's okay if you don't go or not. But of course, you consider other option where they could watch, and yun nga, yung live stream is an option that they could be virtually present as well.
Pero like for couples na, I know that problem nga na they expect that people who confirm should go. Yun nga, we're in a pandemic, so I think the couple should be able to take this, to accept this reality that there will be people who won't be able to go because either they're senior citizens or they're not comfortable going. And nasa couple na yan eh, to feel that it's okay and it's understandable and wala talagang pilitan. Because yun nga eh, I will go back to my story at the first na anyway, magdi-dinner na kami with the family.
Mhm.
So, invited the people lang who wanted to be with us for that very small, intimate dinner. And there are people who said yes, and we're grateful. But for those who said no, actually, kami pa naggumawa ng paraan for them to be involved.
To be part of it, right?
To be part of it. Hindi kami parang sumama loob namin na, oh, hindi kayo pupunta. Hindi pwedeng ganon. Because that's not actually the right attitude to exhibit to people. The right attitude is, okay, hindi pupunta mga to, but I want them to be there. Kaya namin naisip yung live stream. Sige,
Right.
we will bring the party to your home.
Right. Yeah.
Ganun dapat yung outlook ng couple when they're planning a pandemic wedding. Walang samaan ng loob. And as much as possible, how do you involve your guests? Kahit virtually. So that's the beauty of a pandemic wedding. At the end of the day, actually, it's so grand in its own way. Kasi
It may be simple, but grand, limited guests, but it's a story that you could eventually, after how many years, you could tell to your children, your friends, na this is a COVID wedding. Right.
this is what a COVID wedding looks like, a pandemic wedding looks like. Na picture niyo, naka-mask kayo, di ba? But it's something that you could, tell to your future, to your children na this is how it looked like. And
This is how
still,
we got married.
yun na ba, love wins pa rin at the end.
Love wins. Tuloy ang kasal, oo. Kaya hindi
I
na
love
natin sila, Rona, tatanungin because usually we would ask the couples, do you still plan to have
a
a
bigger wedding.
bigger wedding when
Ah,
things are okay na? Siya-
Actually,
Meron pa ba? Magmamatter pa ba yun?
of course, as much as we want to have the complete guess of guess na 300, maybe in the future, but of course, with coming with our special events of our lives, like maybe the birthday of our anniversary, yung mga baptism, maybe we could just
Yeah.
incorporate it there in the future.
Yeah. I love the attitude that you guys have, not just for your own wedding, but also the way you're treating your guests. It's important to have that right mindset. I think
Yeah.
especially in our culture kasi 'di ba? We have the tendency na, oy, bakit ka naman ganyan? Ikaw na nga lang yung inano ko, hindi ka pa pupunta. But I think as you pointed out, if I've invited you to the wedding, I should probably also be very secure that you love me. Even if you're not coming.
yes.
But you're not gonna invite somebody close to anymore.
Yes, should prove to you eh. I mean,
Yeah.
dapat alam mo that they love you no matter
Yeah,
what.
kaya mo nga sila in-invite sa wedding mo, 'di ba? Kasi alam mo na you guys love each other, 'di ba? No matter what. And at some, like we say, at sometimes may mga pagkakataon ngayong pandemic that love means staying away, right? Or I guess as you said, na you also have to consider that there are going to be guests who are going to confirm but they can't make it. Kasi what if, for example, a week before your wedding, they find out that na-expose sila sa office or something.
Yeah.
So, syempre, parang I don't want to go to your wedding anymore.
When we had guests, very responsible. We're so lucky kasi our guests are so responsible also. So, for example, I have a bridesmaid. Ganito siya. 2 weeks before the wedding, naka-home quarantine na siya para hindi na siya ma-expose. Tapos, meron kaming guests. Parang let's say, before, nag-confirm siya, pero suddenly, kumati yung throat niya. The day before. Sabi niya, I won't go na lang. Like, I know I'm not sick, but your guests might feel bothered that I'm coughing. But really, it's just have like an itch on my throat.
Allergy
Or an allergy. So, I think we're both just really thankful that our guests are also very responsible.
Yeah. So, what are your final tips? If you have one final tip for,
Actually,
that you can start. Yeah.
my final tip is no matter what happens, I mean, in this pandemic, what really matters is you to have a commitment and to God or whatever union you will be bind together. So, yun talaga, love really wins. And I mean, in this challenging time, we're able to prove our love kahit madami naging challenges. It was really hard, but it ended up really good.
Kyna?
Yeah.
You want to share?
Just to follow up on that, with the pandemic, there are a lot of restrictions, but at the end of the day, we all have to adapt to the situation. Okay, it's a wedding kasi. It's something that we really wanted for the both of us because we have to have this wedding that for our happiness. We want to celebrate our love together and to pay tribute to our parents who also feel that a wedding is something that we could celebrate as a family. So with the pandemic, I would say that everything is possible as long as we comply with whatever rules are there imposed on us, and we don't need to stop celebrating this grand union just because there are certain restrictions. If at the end of the day there will be people who will be able to help you go through those restrictions without compromising any health and safety standards. So, yun nga, hashtag talaga love wins, hashtag tuloy ang kasal. But doing it the right way, the safe way, and the smart way.
Yes. thank you for your final tips and your final words. I think it's really important, and we've been saying this through the broadcasts the past weeks, that that's the value of working with experienced suppliers, right? Kina already mentioned this, no, that when you work with people who have been doing this for over I don't know, 2 decades for some of them, right? um, you are ensured that they have already prepared how they're going to move on with being a wedding supplier in this time. Ano, we'd always say that it's a little bit risky to for certain things to be left to somebody who's starting out, especially if there's if they are coming to your wedding. Siguro if they are a supplier that doesn't come to your wedding, pwede. But if they will physically be there and be part of your head count, and there are droplets involved, I would very, very highly suggest that you work with suppliers that you can trust. And this is why, we'd like to invite you, of course, to the bridal marketplace, where you can find great suppliers that you can trust, and will put your safety as a priority, and not just them, and not just their craft, or not just what they do. Scrolling below now, I just want to share that we're gonna have on 11/11 para po kaming Shopee, Lazada, ganun. Meron din kaming 11/11, okay? But it's the grand year-end online bridal sale. So that's from November 11 to 25 at themesandmotives.com. And of course, right now,
Yes.
we still have Pirog ongoing, also at themesandmotives.com.
Rona, kasali ang Bernie Pasamba Music Consultancy sa
Of,
11/11
of course.
Grand Year-End Bridal Sale natin. So please check them out there.
Yes.
Kung
And
gusto niyo po malaman,
diba?
oo, pa-plugging na for Bernie Pasamba. Kung gusto
Oo.
niyo po malaman, or you'd like to talk to them, find out how you can have a safe wedding na meron kayong complete choir, at nangyari yan sa wedding ni Dappy and Kyna, and you have entertainment in a safe way, no, during your reception. Ayan, tawagan niyo lang po ang Bernie Pasamba Music Consultancy. And they
Yes.
can, kasi yun ang program nila and it was really very beautiful. Para ka nanonood ng live concert.
Yeah.
And there were even musicians at choir na naglalakad sa aisle, no, habang kumakanta sila.
I didn't
Dumadaan ka.
I didn't have a full choir or a full orchestra at my wedding, but I have to say that I did argue for live music, because I really felt that live entertainment is very different from canned music. So that's something you guys can think of.
Yes.
and definitely inquire at our 11/11 grand year-end online bridal sale. Miss Sharon, any last words?
I would just like to thank our guests, si Dappy and Kyna. Congratulations and best wishes again. And thank you for choosing to spend your Saturday morning with us and to share yung mga napakagandang insights and ideas for the couples who are watching as well. So, good morning to all of you. Huwag niyo pong kakalimutan, #love wins, kaya #tuloy ang kasal.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Happy Saturday.